Med student discovers real disease in fake patient. A medical student learned an important lesson to never assume anything when he correctly diagnosed a fake patient with a very real and very deadly disease. Ryan Jones, 25, a medical student at the University of Virginia, was taking part in a lesson in which local residents act out certain symptoms so that students can practice correctly diagnosing patients. However, one of John's patients was unknowingly suffering from a very real condition called abdominal aortic aneurysm. When Jones was examining one of his patients, Jim Malloy, he found signs of the aneurysm in the retiree's abdomen. What I do remember is putting my hands on his stomach and feeling a pulsing expanding mass, Jones told ABCnews.com. An abdominal aortic aneurysm results in a large blood vessel in the abdomen being damaged and ballooning out. If left untreated, the aneurysm can burst, leading to fatal consequences 80% of the time, according to the National Institute of Health. Initially, Jones was confused by what he found because the abdominal aortic aneurysm was the exact disease Malloy was impersonating as a patient. Had he been portraying a disease with another symptom, I wouldn't have done that part of the physical exam, said Jones. It's not a routine portion of the exam. It's only because he was portraying that case of abdominal aortic aneurysm. Malloy never actually felt any symptoms of the aneurysm, and Jones said his decision to do an abdominal examination was related purely to a fake symptoms Malloy was given by supervisors. After finding the mass, Jones told his supervising physician, who recommended that Malloy see a cardiologist for an ultrasound. Malloy eventually had surgery to fix the aneurysm without suffering complications. Jones said at the time of his surgery, Malloy's aneurysm measured 5.9 centimeters, which meant there was a 40% chance it would rupture within 4 years. In spite of his initial suspicions, Jones didn't know what happened to Malloy until he met Malloy's wife months later his diagnosis at the hospital. Malloy's wife, Louise Malloy, also acts as a medical patient for students at the university. I was standing beside his wife, she said. Oh, earlier this year a medical student found my husband's aneurysm, recalled Jones. When Jones explained that he had been the one to treat her husband, Louise Malloy gave Jones a hug and said after her husband's experience, she told every medical student that they could make a difference with their patients, even when they were still training. Jim's life was saved by a University of Virginia medical student, no doubt about it, Louise Malloy said. Jones is in his 4th year of medical school and plans to be a radiation oncologist. Philippines typhoon rebuilding may cost 50% more this year than estimated. The cost of typhoon reconstruction this year could reach 138 billion pesos, $3.1 billion, more than 50% higher than initially estimated, as the Philippines seeks to build back better and put its safeguards for future disasters, the Budget Secretary said on Thursday. The total cost of a 4-year reconstruction effort may also end up steeper than the current estimate of 361 billion pesos. Laurencio Abad said, Typhoon Haiyan, one of the strongest storms to make landfall anywhere, reduced almost everything in its path to rubble when it swept ashore in the central Philippines on November 8, killing at least 6,190 people, leaving 1,785 missing and 4 million either homeless or with damaged homes. The plan was 90 billion pesos for the year, but I think it will be more, Abad told Reuters in his Manila office, adding typhoon-related spending would reach 138 billion pesos. I don't think they have factored in the need to introduce resiliency, so that will be 10 to 30% more, apart from the immediate need for temporary shelter, providing jobs and restoring water, health, and sanitation services. The government underestimated other costs, including that of identifying and documenting the dead before they are buried. There is an international standard for doing it before you bury them that wasn't factored in. That's a lot of money already, Abad said, adding the government could adequately finance a higher post-typhoon spending bill this year. Manila has set aside funding of 54 billion pesos for the rebuilding effort from a supplemental budget passed late last year. This year's national budget savings, calamity, and other funds, at least 80 billion pesos more would come from concessional loans offered by the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and the Japan International Cooperation Agency. We can fund it. The question is, can we absorb it? That is why we have to start early, Abad said. Going forward, the Philippines, which is hit by an average 20 typhoons a year, is considering not only building typhoon-resilient structures but also permanent evacuation centers equipped with generators and supplies. An initiative that wasn't part of initial plans. The government is also considering major infrastructure projects in the central Philippines, such as relocating the coastal airport in Tacloban, the city that bore the brunt of the storm. The reconstruction effort will ensure the country hits the midpoint to higher end of its 6.5 to 7.5% growth target this year, Abad said, adding growth in 2013 was likely to be near the top end of the government's 6 to 7% goal. That view is shared by economists, with Citibank forecasting growth of 7.3% this year. Local investment bank First Metro Investment Corp had said it projects growth 2014 at 7 to 7.5%, buoyed by strong domestic demand and rehabilitation in disaster-hit areas. Deep freeze may have cost economy about $5 billion. Hunkering down at home rather than going to work, canceling thousands of flights, and repairing burst pipes from the Midwest to the Southeast has its price, by one estimate about $5 billion. The country may be warming up from the polar vortex, but the bone-chilling cold, snow and ice that ripped much of the country, affecting about 200 million people, brought about the biggest economic disruption delivered by the weather since Superstorm Sandy in 2012, said Evan Gould, senior vice president at Planalytics, a business weather intelligence company in suburban Philadelphia. While the impact came nowhere close to Sandy, which caused an estimated $65 billion in property damage alone, the deep freeze impact came from its threats. There's a lot of economic activity that didn't happen, Gould said. Some of that will be made up, but some of it will just get lost. Still, Gould noted his $5 billion estimate pales in comparison with an annual gross domestic product of about $15 trillion, working out to maybe 1/7 to 1/8 of one day's production for the entire country. It's a small fraction of a percent, but it's still an impact, Gould said. Major U.S. airlines, which canceled about 20,000 flights starting last Thursday, lost anywhere from $50 million to $100 million, said Helene Becker, an analyst with Cowen and Co. in New York. JetBlue was hit especially hard because 80% of its flights go through New York or Boston, where the carrier shut down Monday evening into Tuesday. The airline also was affected by other airport closures and new regulations limiting pilot hours. School closures took their own toll, keeping home parents who couldn't find alternatives for their kids. Even if those parents worked from home, they might not have been as productive, said Tony Madden, regional economist with the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. People in the northern climates are used to dealing with issues of snow and cold, Madden said. However, when you get a 1-in-20-year event like this, that disrupts activities. The insurance industry has yet to estimate costs, but Robert Hartwig, president of the Insurance Information Institute in New York, said insurers plan for about $1.4 billion in winter storm catastrophe losses in any given year. We certainly know there is an epidemic of frozen and burst pipes this week, Hartwig said. Damage to Minnesota State Health Laboratory in St. Paul could top $1 million after the heating system failed and pipes leaked. Alabama Governor Robert Bentley's home in Tuscaloosa took an estimated 50,000 blows from a burst water pipe. Roto-Rooter in Minneapolis and elsewhere has been inundated with calls about burst pipes and even frozen sewer lines since the cold snap, plumbing manager Paul Tell said. Governments are meanwhile tallying costs for depleted road salt reserves, blown overtime budgets, and repairs. Other impacts will be felt in about 30 days when high heating bills start coming due, Gould said, which will affect how much consumers can spend in February. But somebody always benefits, he said. On-demand cable TV, a restaurant delivery services gained, as did home centers and convenience stores where people went to stock up. Online retailers benefited from customers with an estimated $30 billion worth of new holiday gift cards burning holes in their pockets.